We had 2 hearings last week. I picked the wrong week to go on vacation. Judge ordered a hearing on Fusion GPS documents. So we had all these documents that expose Bruce Ohr's constant stream of communications with Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS. Notes of those communications. I think they detailed 60 communications with Christopher Steele after the Fusion GPS spy, this is the Clinton spy ring guy, was terminated by the FBI as a confidential informant. So they used Bruce Ohr to reach out to him, and we got all the documents showing that he was in constant communication with Steele. And they withheld many documents from us. And as a result of this hearing and discussions between Judicial Watch and the parties and the Justice Department is going to relook at some of the materials they withheld from us. I wish I had brought one of the documents. For instance, he has a list of intermediaries that I think Christopher Steele was using or Glenn Simpson was using from Fusion GPS to spy on Team Trump or to get information on Trump. And that's all blacked out. So the Justice Department, because there's been declassification of those Bruce Ohr 302s, thanks to Judicial Watch's legal pressure, the release of the Mueller report, they're going to rethink whether they need to withhold all that. And again, that's Judicial Watch doing this basic disclosure work on the worst corruption scandal in American history. That was due, and again, that's just one court hearing. But then there was another court order that was a biggie as well. So we had gotten these FBI documents about Christopher Steele. And they show, for instance, that Steele was paid at least 11 times by the FBI during the campaign. So the Clinton spy was jointly funded by the FBI, the Democratic National Committee, and the Clinton campaign to target Trump with the garbage dossier that James Comey dishonestly confronted and ambushed President-elect Trump with. And they fraudulently used to get FISA spy warrants on Trump World. It's Judicial Watch got all this information. So the FBI was taking the position that they shouldn't have to search for anything the FBI had on Christopher Steele in terms of communications after he was fired as a confidential informant in November of 2016. I told you that the FBI was using Bruce Ohr as a conduit to get to Steele. They wanted to meet with him before, they were desperate to meet with him, and these documents show they were desperate to meet with him, coincidentally, just before Mueller was appointed. And you can bet Mueller's FBI agents were meeting with Steele and talked to Steele. And they don't want to give us any of that. And this is Christopher Wray's FBI, covering up for Clinton's spy. And one of the reasons they're saying they didn't want to give us these documents, guys, is because Steele's privacy interests were at stake. Yes, they were trying to protect the foreign spy who had it in for President Trump, fired by the FBI for misconduct, trying to protect his poor privacy. And the judge says, "Are you kidding me?" The potential for illuminating the FBI's activities, as I'm reading from the judge's order, is not too difficult to discern. Communications postdating Steele's time as an informant might reveal a great deal about why the FBI developed him as a confidential human source, his performance as a CHS, and why the FBI opted to terminate its relationship with him. Those records might either bolster or weaken Steele's credibility as a source. The FBI knows that. That's why they don't want to give us the documents. Those records might either that information in turn could provide a basis on which to evaluate the FBI's performance in its law enforcement duties, including its judgment in selecting and relying on confidential sources, especially in connection with such a politically sensitive subject. Of course, the records Judicial Watch speculates about might not even exist. Well, they do. And even if they do, they may not reveal anything significant about the FBI's operations. They do. But that they might do so makes them a matter of potential public interest. So there's the judge's ruling, and it tells you what the FBI was arguing. There's no there there. They didn't want to give us anything. And they were trying to protect Steele's privacy. And this is what the judge said about that. This is Judge Cooper, who is the judge in this case. He held that on balance, any privacy interest Steele may have in keeping the documents secret are outweighed by the public's interest in disclosure. So you don't have an absolute right to privacy in government documents. There's a balancing test. Steele's privacy interests are far different from those courts usually consider under Exemption 7C, which are privacy interests related to informants that the government uses in law enforcement, where disclosure would make public for the first time an individual's affiliation with law enforcement, meaning they don't have to disclose a source they're using that otherwise is not public, whether as an agent, cooperator, or target. The balance, therefore, tilts in favor of disclosure. Accordingly, the court will order the FBI to conduct a search for records postdating Steele's service as a confidential source. And the court, it's not here, but I know it's in the order, the court said, look, Steele's out. We all know he's a source. You're not protecting his privacy interests here anymore. And if you got an argument to make, that's fine. Find and search produce the documents, redact what you think you want to redact, and we'll argue about it. But don't tell Judicial Watch you won't even look for them. And he ordered them to search for the documents and produce them in 60 days. The FBI is still protecting Christopher Steele and the Clinton spy ring at Fusion GPS. And the fact they're doing this shows you there's more corruption to be uncovered, and Judicial Watch is going to do it.